Does your child get frustrated every time you ask them to sound out a word? Blending sounds together isn't always as easy as it seems. And in some ways, the way we think we're helping can actually make things harder for them. Today, I'll show you exactly how to support your child when sounding out words in a way that builds confidence instead of tears. In this video, you'll learn the 3 most common reasons kids struggle with sounding out words, simple ways you can help without overcorrecting or causing confusion, and I'll give you a free guide for blending skills that you can do in just 5 minutes a day. So let's talk about why sounding it out can be so hard for some kids. Many children really struggle with this because blending and reading in general is not natural. It's something that needs to be explicitly taught. While some kids will naturally pick up on this skill, a lot of them need to be told and shown exactly how to do it. In addition to this, some other challenges are that some kids really struggle holding the sounds in their memory long enough to blend the word together after they have sounded it out. Some kids struggle with the break in between each sound, so they can't smoothly put the sounds together. And a lot of kids will try to guess based on the first sound in the word instead of blending it. So struggling to blend doesn't mean that your child isn't smart or they're having a specific problem. It means that they just need more practice with the skill, and maybe they need to practice hearing the sounds in the word. Here's how you can support your child with blending at home. First, you want to use successive blending. This means that you are stretching the individual sounds out in the word as you blend them, and there's really no gap or pause in between the sounds. So let's say, for example, you're sounding out the word sat. Instead of going s, a, t, sat, you would do sat, sat. Notice how I held each sound, the s and the a, without pausing or breaking in between them. So they really connected. And then we just kind of squished it together really fast to say the word after that. This can take some practice in the beginning. You're definitely gonna have to model this a couple of times and practice with your child before they get it. And it really helps to use continuous sounds at the beginning of the word. So continuous sounds, if you're not familiar, are sounds that can be stretched for as long as basically you can hold your breath. These include sounds like s, m, f, l, So if you try them like s, you notice how you can pretty much just say that until you run out of your breath, right? But a sound like t cannot be stretched. That's a stop sound, not a continuous sound. So it really helps to use continuous sounds at the beginning of the word. All vowels are continuous sounds, so that's fine in the middle. And then the final sound doesn't really matter, but you want to focus on, if your child is struggling with blending and you want to use successive blending, having a continuous sound at the beginning of the word. Some other stop sounds that you want to avoid at the beginning of the word are sounds like t, k, p, b, d, g. Those that are kind of just abrupt and can't be stretched, keep those to the end of the word. Another thing you can do is use finger tapping or some sort of token movement. This is really helpful with sound boxes, Orton boxes, but you don't need to have any visual at all. So take any kind of manipulative. It could be chips, it could be little toys, erasers. It doesn't really matter what it is. You could just draw something on a paper and have your child tap on those sounds. So let's say, again, the word is sat, and you have 3 dots on a paper. They would tap s, at. So it helps to have an arrow underneath it, which is what Orton boxes have, and that way you can do that sat, and it stops at the end. Having the Orton boxes does help to visualize this process of the letters kind of moving into each other and blending together. And if you have physical chips that you're using, you can move them as well when you are blending the word together. This helps some kids who really need a more visual aspect of blending. Next, you want to make sure that you're modeling and practicing together. Kids who struggle with this really need a lot of modeling first, practice with them, and then they can do it on their own. So model exactly how you want them to sound out and blend a word. Show sat, and then do it with them. Can you do it with me? Sat. Have them do it with you. Many, multiple times. This is called the I do, we do, you do approach, which is what effective teachers use in the classroom. And that's where I model the task, we do the task together, and then you do the task on your own. So you want to do the same thing with your child. You model it first, once or twice, you practice together a couple of times, and then you have them do the task on their own after that. Next, you want to make sure that you're only using sounds your child already knows. I probably should have put this one before, but make sure that you are working on just one skill at a time. And then you can introduce review of previous skills. So let's say you are working on short vowel sounds. You've already done A, E, and I. Today you're introducing the A sound for O. You can focus on reading some A words and then you can review, throw in some 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 I in there. But really you want to focus on that one target sound when you are practicing. And lastly, you want to keep it short and positive. If we have kids who are struggling with this, they are very resistant. Their frustration tolerance is pretty low. They don't want to do this to begin with, right? So we don't need to be spending 25 minutes blending words. Just 5 minutes is enough. And as they build their confidence and see some progress and see that they can actually do it, you can add more time to it. They're going to be more willing to do this task for a little bit longer. You want to praise their effort, not just their accuracy, right? Praise the fact that, oh, you're doing such a good job stretching. I like how you're holding the sounds together. That was such a good try. Let's do it again together. Keep it as positive as you can. Now, here are some things you do not want to say. Don't tell them to just try harder or look at the picture. Again, we want to make sure that they are sounding out the word. They're not guessing, so never tell them to look at the picture, guess, or anything like that. And telling them to try harder is really not helping them. Maybe you need to model it for them again. Maybe you need to review the sounds if they are struggling with it. Again, don't expect them to base on context. Always have them sound the word out step by step the way that you are modeling using successive blending. And don't rush them through it. Some kids really struggle with this skill and are much slower than others, and that's okay. They will increase their speed and fluency with time and practice. Remember that you want to focus on small wins, and repetition is what leads to automaticity. Some kids will need to repeat a task 10 times and other kids will need to repeat a task 40 times. You don't know which type your kid is yet, so don't get frustrated and don't push too much. Maybe they are almost there. If they're really struggling with it, just make sure that you continue to practice with them and give them a lot more support until they can do it on their own. They will eventually get there. Now here's some quick practice that you can do today. 5-minute blending drills are some of my favorite things to do. You can do this with or without letters, with or without manipulatives. It can be visual where you're putting a letter sound on a screen or holding it up on a card. It can be using pictures, a picture of a word, for example, a picture of a map, and then we are segmenting and blending that word. You can put 3 letter cards together that they have to blend together. You can just use word cards, flashcards with words that they have already done. There's many different ways to do it. There are blending boards online as well that you can use, but make sure you're keeping it simple and using those continuous sounds first. Words like map, sun, mom, sip, and then you are moving towards more complex words with things like consonant blends, vowel teams, and such later on. I recommend that you use a sound boxes template like Conan boxes. I have one in my freebies library if you want one. Just choose a couple of words to practice each day using successive blending technique on the sound boxes template. So that's going to look like this. You're going to display a word and then have your child tap out the sounds. So let's say the word is map, p. Segmented the sounds. Now we're going to blend them together. P, map. That's exactly what you want to do. So for 5 minutes a day, grab a couple of words on the target phonics skill that you have and go through a blending drill like this. My recommendation is to have 3 piles, one with a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant, and then you are swapping out the initial consonant and the final consonant and the vowel sound in the middle if you have taught multiple vowel sounds. So you're just changing one sound at a time and they are re-blending the word. If you want some more step-by-step activities for blending practice and other phonics practice, then you can download my 5-minute reading fixes linked in the description below. I also have printable blending cards in my shop if you want to focus on specific target skills like CVC words or vowel team words or soft C and G words, for example. So if blending is a struggle right now, don't worry, you're not alone, and there are some things you can try these tricks in this video. Grab my 5-minute reading fixes linked in the description below. And with short, consistent practice, this will get easier for your child. Now, one of the key factors in influencing how well your child can decode is how strong their phonemic awareness is. If you are wondering what you can do for phonemic awareness or what the difference is between phonemic awareness and phonics, then watch this video next. It's called Phonemic Awareness versus Phonics, What's the Difference? And in the video, I break down the difference and show you exactly how both work together to help your child read.